Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's knowledge webinar with BricsCAD. And today we're going to try to answer the question, why is BricsCAD better? For once, BricsCAD is a professional CAD platform without compromise. No compromise means BricsCAD is a single native DWG platform. And the BricsCAD developers know that leverage the base of DWG allows them to develop productivity tools that are more powerful, intelligent, and innovative. And you'll learn all about it in a few minutes. So today's webinar presenter, Dean Miao, is a solution consultant with BricsCAD and has over 30 years experience in the CAD architecture and retail industry. And I just want to show you where you can find the BricsCAD product line on our catalog. We have all the configuration of the product, BricsCAD Pro, BricsCAD BIM, you name it. So check us out at native-DWG.com. native-DWG is changing the way designers purchase 3D software, offering more choices, more freedom, best advice, and faster service. Check us out at native-DWG.com. And now, without further ado, I'm going to share Dean's screen. That's what you're all waiting for anyways. Okay, take it away, Dean.
Thank you, Barbara. Can everybody hear me? Hopefully,
yeah.
Barbara, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me start the presentation. So welcome to the BricsCAD knowledge webinar. Again, my name is Dean Miao, and I'll be presenting for you why BricsCAD is better. So again, a little quick short bio, you saw that previously, but I am a solution consultant with BricsCAD, and I have a wide-ranging background in the CAD industry. For today's demonstration, I'll be covering the following topics. I'm going to start off with the launcher, which gives you access to BricsCAD single platform workspaces and product editions. Because BricsCAD is familiar, there's no steep learning curve, but we also offer some unique and different interface tools. I will review some analytical tools to check your drawing and optimize them to understand how to control and display entities. I'll also introduce to you some of BricsCAD's new technology to increase productivity. I'll cover how you can display various design options by using parametric blocks and how you can utilize existing dynamic blocks in your design workflow. With BricsCAD, productivity also means getting help when you need it. We provide a deep selection of help resources from in-product tips to online help and tutorials. And finally, with BricsCAD single platform, you have the flexibility to work and design in 3D when you need it. So that's today's agenda. But before I get into the demonstration, I just wanted to do a quick introduction into who is BricsCAD and what is BricsCAD. So who is BricsCAD? BricsCAD provides a wide range of modern mainstream CAD, BIM, and mechanical software products known as BricsCAD. We also have a collaboration platform known as 24/7. BricsCAD has been building these mission-critical 2D and 3D CAD software products for over 20 years. We have a global customer base across Europe, Americas, and Asia. And the organizations who use our products are spread throughout the world and operate in many different industry sectors, primarily in the building, construction, and manufacturing markets. We are also very customer focused and known for our high level of support and approachability. So BricsCAD is based in Belgium and is part of Hexagon AB, which is a leader in digital reality solutions. Hexagon is a large global technology group with revenues of over 5 billion euros. We also believe that DWG is an extensible platform in AEC, so we are leveraging the base DWG drawing format and developing productivity tools that are more powerful, intelligent, and innovative. So what is BricsCAD? So BricsCAD, as Barbara mentioned, is a professional CAD platform without compromise. So no compromise means BricsCAD is a single native DWG platform with 5 product levels. So you can start in 2D Lite, move to 3D Pro, BIM, Mechanical, or the all-inclusive Ultimate, which is entirely accessible in our single platform. And because BricsCAD is a familiar user interface, there's no steep learning curve. It's also list compatible, and you can migrate all your customizations. We also offer flexible licensings to meet your needs. Our licensing options include network, perpetual, subscription, and we're very cost effective. And if you need network licenses, we do not require named users. Since we have a single platform, you can model in 3D when and how you need it. With BricsCAD, you can start designing in 2D and seamlessly transition to 3D modeling when you need it. What really sets BricsCAD apart from our competitors is our AI-driven productivity tools. Our AI-driven assistants will get your deliverables done faster, and our AI machine learning technology is the cornerstone of our productivity tools for CAD. We help you improve productivity by automatically predicting the commands you most likely use next. So BricsCAD is a professional CAD platform without compromise. So with that, let me get into the demonstration of BricsCAD. So let's get out of that. So to start, when you open BricsCAD, you're presented with the launcher, which provides access to any one of our 5 workspaces. So there's no login required. Because BricsCAD is a single platform, you can work in any one of these product levels. Again, depending upon your license level, you can start in 2D drafting, 3D modeling, civil, mechanical, and BIM, all within our single platform. So once you open a drawing in BricsCAD, you'll notice that it's more than just familiar. It is unique and innovative, and it is sometimes different. So BricsCAD's familiar user interface is familiar. We do have the standard ribbons. So you have your ribbon where you have various commands you can select from. We also have standard toolbars that you can open and deploy from the toolbars here. So you can open, for instance, circles. So we do have the standard toolbars. We also have the familiar status bar where you can quickly access common drawing aids and tools. And of course, we have the standard command line where you can type in commands for such as line and start drawing very quickly here inside of BricsCAD. Additionally, we have our standard model space and layout spaces available to you. So again, very familiar and very easy to get to ramp up to use BricsCAD. So if you're wondering what's the path from legacy CAD to BricsCAD, well, BricsCAD's native file format is in fact DWG. So basically, that means you simply open a drawing in BricsCAD and you continue working. There's no translating and no migrating to be done. Just select your drawing and open it directly into BricsCAD. So in addition to a lot of the familiar user interface settings in BricsCAD, there are some unique and innovative interface features to automate your design workflow. So when I showed you the BricsCAD launcher, as I mentioned earlier, it is a single platform where it allows you to seamlessly transition between the product features and menus by selecting various workspaces. So by just going to the drop-down menu, I can easily transition to any one of these workspaces right within inside of BricsCAD. I don't need to leave the product. I could stay right inside of BricsCAD and transition to any one of these workspaces seamlessly. Another powerful feature is the interface settings dialog box, which happens to be right next to the drop-down for workspaces. So the interface settings dialog box is a way to quickly modify and manage your interface displays in your BricsCAD workspace. This is essentially a one-stop shopping interface to manage how your BricsCAD session will look. So you can change the way your layouts appear, how your theme could be dark or light. Maybe your pattern systems are docked, floating, or tabbed. So again, one-stop shopping for changing the interface settings for your BricsCAD sessions. So a question you might have is, have you done some customizations to your existing CAD environment? Well, perhaps you have some unique or specific command aliases that you prefer to use. Well, that's not a problem. You just open a customization dialog box here. And in the customization dialog box, you can edit or make changes to any of those settings here. So if you have a command alias that you want us to add, you can quickly go ahead and add an alias here, say 1, and make it align. So you can quickly add custom aliases inside of BricsCAD. Or better yet, you can load partial or full CUI files directly into BricsCAD by just going to the file dropdown and loading up those CUI files instantaneously. So again, there's no need to start over. You can bring all that customization over right into BricsCAD. So before you begin working on a drawing that you may have received from a client or external partner, typically it's best practice to inspect and assess the contents of that drawing. Well, how can you do this? Well, in BricsCAD, we have several tools that will help you. The first of which is the structure browser. So the structure browser is an analytic and diagnostic tool that provides an interactive tree view of the entities in your current drawing. It's non-graphical, and the interface gives you control to display the drawing entities the way you want to see them. So the structure browser gives you insight into the drawing contents, allowing you to inspect, understand, and see what's within the drawing before you start drawing in it. So I can quickly use the default settings for the structure browser and look at the entities here, and it's grouped by layer. So I can select a particular layer here, say the P pipe, and I can say, maybe I want to isolate or hide the contents on that layer. So I can go ahead and say, I want to isolate them. So it isolates the contents of that layer. It's a whole lot easier than using the layer structure. This does mimic the actual layer for P pipe, but I have more control over here in the structure browser, where now if I expand the P pipe entity layers, you can see that it itemizes all the entities that are within that layer. For instance, there's so many arcs, there's so many blocks, ellipses, and lines. Perhaps I want to look into this layer a little bit deeper and say, well, I want to remove some of those lines, so I can say, I want to hide those lines. So again, it's given me a quick way to isolate and view the content of my drawings very quickly from a non-graphical standpoint from my structure browser. You can also create your own custom configuration for the structure tree. So you basically select how you want to configure and filter out items within your within this customization. And again, you can go ahead and save that as a custom configuration for your tree. I can also select or change from my default structure browser to something such as sort by block. So once I sort by block, you can see that it sorts all the blocks that are in this particular drawing. I can use the search feature here right at the top of the structure browser and search for a particular block. And say I'm looking for this water heater. So again, rather than isolate or hide the item, maybe I want to zoom to it. So I can zoom to that water here very quickly. But you can see that when I zoom to it, it's kind of difficult to see where that actual block is. So I can go a little bit further and say, I just actually want to isolate that block. So now by removing all the noise around it, I can see specifically what that block looks like on this drawing in this particular location on my drawing. So very helpful. So as you can see, by using the innovative structure browser, you can review all the drawing entities with ease and see them the way you want to see them. So let me turn everything back on. So the next feature in terms of analyzing the contents of your drawing is what's called the Drawing Explorer. So in the Drawing Explorer, it provides a single source location to manage all your drawing content, including style definitions and file-based drawing content, such as your blocks. So I can select on my blocks. You can see that in the Drawing Explorer, it itemized all the blocks that are in this drawing. You can see that there are over 500 blocks in this drawing. And I can sort them by reference instances. So if I select the references right here and sort them, it'll put them in kind of a chronological order. So I can see that of all the blocks that are placed out there, I can see the ones that have the 0 reference are the blocks that aren't placed. So I have 161 blocks that are in this drawing, but not placed in the drawing. So that kind of information can help me make decisions about the structure and health of the drawing. So again, through the Drawing Explorer, you can manage all your style definitions as well. So for instance, if I want to manage my line styles, maybe my multi-line styles, my text styles, or my dimension styles, through the Drawing Explorer, you can manage all those style definitions, again, in a single interface, all at your fingertips very quickly. So now that we've kind of done a preliminary analysis of our drawing, so the next step is taking care of the drawing or understanding what's inside the drawing. So again, no matter what CAD software program is used, drawings can become problematic, sluggish, or full of duplicate geometry and entities, all which can hinder productivity. So again, an essential part of a drawing is the health of the file. So Again, you may be familiar with the standard purge, audit, simplify, overkill, and optimize commands. So traditionally, each one of those is run independently. They do accomplish the task of cleaning up the drawing, but with the new drawing health tool, we've combined the power of those individual tools into a single tool to make optimization easier. So the drawing health tool combines the functionality of all of those multiple standalone BricsCAD commands that help you improve overall drawing size and accuracy in one tool. So you can use some of the predefined routines that are loaded with BricsCAD. So we have a 2D cleanup, 3D cleanup database, so forth. But you can also use this as a template. So I could take this 2D cleanup template, for instance, and edit it. And I can create and add different functions to this cleanup routine. I can select what items I want to include or not include into the cleanup routine. And once I've decided how I want to customize this, again, I can save this as. I can save this as a custom edit or a cleanup routine that I want to use, perhaps within my company. So once these routines are configured, you can share them with your teammates or team members to ensure there's a consistent approach to maintaining drawing health throughout your company. So there are several ways that you can run these routines. So you can run them in an express mode, interactive mode, or simulation mode. So depending upon how you want to run that, for instance, if I run this in simulation mode, as the name intends, when I start running simulation mode, it actually will simulate the drawing cleanup before it actually does and performs the cleanup on the drawing. So once the simulation is done, you can see it gives me statistics about what's happening inside the drawing. It's telling me so many unused objects. So I'll let it finish here. So if I open up the unused object, you can see that I had those blocks here. It's telling me, again, there's 161 of those blocks that aren't being utilized in the drawing. So once this simulation is run, you can create a report down here. So once you have this report, I can review it. So I'll just open up that report. So this report will give you a review of the documents and documents what's changed within the drawing before you actually do it. So it's sort of a safety net so that you can check and make sure and validate what it is that's going to get cleaned is actually what you want to get cleaned up in your drawing. So again, a very helpful tool to clean up your drawings very, very quickly. So now that the drawings have been optimized and are ready for your team to start working, let's look at some of BricsCAD's unique and innovative tools and features. So let me switch to a new drawing here. So one of the key benefits of CAD is the ability to draw something once, copy it, move it, and use it again over and over again. So that's really the beauty of CAD. So BricsCAD has some incredible smart move and copy commands known as move guided and copy guided. So in this piping layout, there are a few modifications that need to be done. So this valve on the top is in the wrong location. There needs to be a valve on this right-hand vertical pipe, and there needs to be a valve down here on this lower horizontal pipe. So the traditional method of copying and moving valves is, very tedious. So to walk you through that, so I'm going to go to drafting. I'm going to go ahead and move this valve, grab this valve, and move it over to where I think I want it to be on this vertical pipe. But you can see automatically that once I move the pipe or move that valve, there's a hole here. I need to clean up this geometry here. I need to rotate this valve. Then I need to cut out a piece of that pipe and rotate and put the pipe in the right place. So you can see it's probably about 15 steps for me to clean up this and copy this or move this valve easily. So again, let me undo all that. With BricsCAD, we have, like I just mentioned, some smart move and copy tools called move guided and copy guided. So rather than do the move, I'm going to use this new command called move guided. So I'm going to window around the item that I want to move, and you can see that automatically have these blue arrows, which are guide curves, that helps guide me in placing this valve on the appropriate geometry. It doesn't matter what orientation the geometry is in, it will find that geometry and place it in it. So again, any horizontal, vertical, or skewed geometry, you can place it. So again, I'm going to place it. I can select what side that valve handle is on. Maybe I want it to be on the outside and place it. So basically in 2 clicks, I was able to move that valve from this location to this location, and it did all the cleanup for me very quickly. So in conjunction with the copy or the move guided, we have copy guided. So as the name implies, I can use this to copy items. So I'm going to highlight this vertical valve and copy it, but then I'm going to copy it down to my horizontal valve. So again, very quickly, I just grabbed that valve, copy guided it, moved it to where I wanted to do, and all the cleanup is done automatically for me. Now, in another instance, perhaps I delete this valve, and now I have a big hole here. Well, I could stretch this, I can delete some of these lines and create and fix this hole here, but I could use copy guided to heal that error there. So I go to copy guided. I'm going to use a piece of pipe here as a band-aid. I'm going to use what's called a region down here. Use that region, and now when I move this band-aid or this copy guided section over to the area that has the hole, it automatically heals it for me. So again, very easy for me to use these intuitive tools that BricsCAD has. So again, move guided and copy guided provide a modern approach to drawing editing because they efficiently automate repetitive tasks by eliminating the tedious drafting cleanups, which can be very time consuming. If you're a drafter, you understand what that means. So moving on to another concept. So as you may have noticed, using commands in BricsCAD is very familiar by using the standard ribbon or entering commands at the command line. Well, with BricsCAD's quad cursor menu, we've taken CAD to the next level. So if I turn on my quad cursor here, if I hover over an open area and right click, I'm presented with what's called the quad cursor. So the quad cursor is an AI-based tool palette and a heads-up display right at your cursor. So the quad cursor is a productivity tool that learns your most used commands and predicts what tools you're likely to use next. So depending upon what elements you hover over or select, it will present you with a new tool set, depending upon what you're hovering over. For instance, I have a line here. I have a variety of editing and modifying tools. If I hover over, say, for instance, this block, I'm given a different set of editing tools. It knows that it's a block, and I can automatically go to edit block very quickly. So the quad is a very productive tool. So one of the benefits of the quad is that I can take advantage of an innovation in BricsCAD, which is called clean screen. So if I go to my clean screen, you can see that I have a bigger canvas to work on. It's eliminated all my menu structure, but that's okay. I have my quad. So because I have my quad, I can continue to work here. So I'm going to grab these flanges here. And again, because I have my quad, I go ahead and copy them. I'm going to copy them about that line there. Turn off my ortho. And I can quickly copy and draw inside of BricsCAD by just using the quad and having a bigger real estate canvas to work on. And another example, let me go to a different view here. So I have another pipe here that I have in section, but it needs to have some hatching because it's in section. Again, I'm going to grab those pipe sections there, hover over it, and just add my hatch pad into it very quickly and very easily. So again, the quad keeps you focused on what you're creating on screen. So you don't have to look for menus, toolbars, or type in command lines. There's no need to search for commands. The quad is an incredibly productive tool because it presents the commands that you need right at your cursor. So in conjunction with the quad cursor, we have another tool, which is called Rollover Tips. So I'll turn that on here. So what the rollover tips allow you to do is that, if you've ever had in your drawing where you need to quickly change a layer or color of an object. So again, in conventional method that requires several mouse clicks and searching for commands, again, it takes a bit more time. So again, with the rollover tips, as the name implies, I can roll over this entity and I'm presented with the rollover tips, and it gives me information about that entity. So I can quickly say, well, that's not the right color. It needs to be by layer. I can change that. I can select multiple entities here, like these lines that represent the pipe. Again, I can roll over them and change them to the appropriate layer. They need to be on base. So you can see very quickly that by using the rollover tips, I can quickly modify entities in a heads-up display very, very quickly. So let me move on to another concept. So, there might be times when you need to quickly manipulate an entity in your drawing. So wouldn't it be convenient to do this without any command input? Well, BricsCAD provides that capability for you. So let me change to a new drawing here. Come on. Oops. So let me change to this drawing here. So in this drawing, I have a fixture plan that's got a few tasks that need to be completed. I'm missing this table here, and this gondola run here is not completed yet. So again, let me introduce a new command or tool, which is called the manipulator. So the manipulator is a command-free, let me emphasize that again, a command-free, without the use of a command, tool for moving, copying, mirroring, rotating, scaling objects. So again, because I have the quad, I can hover over this using the quad and select my manipulator. So the manipulator attaches itself to the entity. And so now I have these bars that I can start to move. I can move it in the X direction. I can move it in the Y direction. Additionally, I can freely move it by selecting that square in the middle. I can also rotate the object. Again, I'm not entering any commands. I'm just selecting the manipulator to do these manipulations. I can also change the behavior of these arrows. So for instance, I could change the behavior of this arrow to say I want it to scale. So now when I select that arrow, I can scale this object. Better yet, I can use the manipulator to copy items. So I'm going to use the manipulator to copy this table up to the center line point of that, and then kind of move it over and put it in place. So again, the manipulator is very fast. I'm not entering any commands. I'm just using the tool in a heads-up display. I can select multiple items. So again, I can select this series of gondolas and tables and such. Again, deploy my manipulator and use the arrow to mirror this. I'm going to mirror it about the center point of that. And then again, very quickly, I'm able to manipulate those items very quickly without any command input. So keeping in the same kind of vein of using tools that are command-free, another BricsCAD tool is known as nearest distance. So oftentimes you may need to measure something or move an object a specific distance. Again, we have measure tools, we have the standard move tools, all which require multiple steps. But with the nearest distance tool, I can dynamically view and modify those distances between any two objects or sub-entities. So again, I can select this object here and the adjacent object here, and it gives me an immediate feedback, or what I would like to call a temporary dimension, or information about the distance between those two elements. It happens to be 6'8", and I can use that information to move something. So I want to make sure that this is in the same alignment as that one below. So I'm going to use the nearest distance tool, and I could just enter that dimension very quickly. So again, by having the access to these tools, the manipulator and nearest distance, you find that you'll be more productive because you can focus on drawing and designing rather than looking for or entering commands. So again, very, very easy and very quick for you to manipulate items inside of BricsCAD. So let me change my screen back to the normal full screen here, and let's change our attention to the next concept of blocks. So let me change a drawing here and go to this block drawing here, or this crusher drawing. So, blocks are essential components to any CAD drawing where you have repetitive content. Blocks save time, they maintain consistency, and they reduce file size. So in this particular drawing assembly, there are some blades on the assembly that have been exploded by mistake. So the blades have been reset to simple 3D geometry, and they obviously increase the size of the drawing and makes it difficult to manage. So again, BricsCAD uses the familiar concept of block definitions and block references. So if I hover over some of these blocks, you can see that this is just a 3D solid. This got exploded. This one happened to have retained its block reference, but there are a variety of these blocks out here that got exploded. So let me go ahead and isolate those. So I'm going to isolate these entities, which happen to just be 3D representations of that blade. So as I mentioned earlier, BricsCAD does use the familiar block. So I'm going to go ahead and create a block, call it blade. And Let me go ahead and just do this quickly and select the entities. So I've created that block called blade. So now I can go ahead and insert that. So I can insert that block, blade. But now here's the challenge. So even though I've created that block, in order for me to precisely put these blades in the exact location, it's a bit tedious. So a couple things need to happen. I need to delete the original 3D geometry. Then I need to insert each individual block and then precisely place them in the correct orientation, which is, again, as I said, very tedious and time consuming. And that's why BricsCAD created a tool called Blockify. So if I go to Blockify here, so Blockify is a unique BricsCAD tool that allows you to find similar geometry and group them together into either a new block or match it to an existing block definition. So because a block definition can exist in a drawing without a block being placed, as you saw in that other drawing for the piping, there were 161 blocks in the drawing, but not physically placed, you can still use those as those existing blocks to define a block definition as well. But in this example, I'll use the block I just created for that blade and use it to match the existing block. So as a reference to creating the new geometry. So in my Blockify command here, I'm going to go ahead and select down here, match existing block, and I'm going to select these items here. And once I select them, BricsCAD went out there and realized, oh, these are the items that you can convert into blocks. I do have the ability to say, well, I don't want to change certain entities here into blocks by just selecting that check or unchecking it. And it found the 4 matching ones and then automatically go ahead and replace those. So Blockify did that work for me. Now you can see that this converted this into a block. The block name is called Blade because it used that block definition. So that quickly, I'm able to use Blockify to precisely convert that 3D geometry into blocks and precisely place them where they need to be. So again, Blockify automates the block process for you. And what truly makes this an amazing tool is that you don't need to search for any outline geometry and figure out how to orient those blocks. BricsCAD does that all for you. It is quite an amazing tool to go ahead and use Blockify to generate those blocks automatically for you. So let's move on to another concept in relationship to blocks. And that happens to be the concept of creating the next level of block definitions where you can embed flexibility and design options into those blocks. So BricsCAD uses the technology of parametric blocks, which are blocks that can contain not only pure geometry, but also metadata, which affects the geometry, such as its size, its visibility. Thus, the appearance of a parametric block can be modified without editing the actual block definition. So in this example here, I have a table, these table sets, which happen to be parametric blocks. So I can select this parametric block and go to my properties panel, and I can change its type from a 2-seater to a 4-seater very quickly. Likewise, I can select all those instances of those parametric blocks and say, I want to change those types to all be this 4-seater with a round umbrella. So again, having the variation block configurations, you can design better, and just by selecting the arrangements that you want or need with a lot of speed and tremendous accuracy. So parametric blocks is a great way of introducing design options into your drawing. If you inserted an AutoCAD dynamic block into your BricsCAD drawing, in most cases, you can manipulate and display those dynamic blocks instances. You don't need to recreate them. You can just simply insert them and change them as they were designed. So in this example here, if I roll over this, you can see this is a dynamic block. So again, I can select it and use the dynamic tools here to change its configuration as well. So again, using the legacy dynamic blocks is not a problem inside of BricsCAD. Again, just insert them and use them as normal. One thing you want to keep in mind is that the dynamic block definitions cannot be created or edited in BricsCAD, because those were defined in AutoCAD, which is a proprietary technology by Autodesk. So just keep that in mind, but we can use those blocks inside of BricsCAD. So again, BricsCAD provides an intuitive solution where you can continue to draw and design and use legacy block data and integrate that into BricsCAD's innovative productivity tools. So one of the other concepts that is always important with regard to productivity is that in BricsCAD, productivity also means getting help when you need it. So as you noticed earlier, I had what was called the tips panel up here. So the tips panel provides in-product help and instructions on commands and provides the appropriate information as you need it. So again, it's dynamic. So depending upon what command I hover over, it will update and it gives me a quick tutorial and an animation about how to use a particular command. Again, I can select different commands and the tips panel will update. If you're needing more detail about how to use that particular command, you can always visit the help right here within the tips panel, or you can go to the help dropdown and go right to the help, our online help system on our website. So once you access the help system here, it will give you the more detailed information about how to use a particular command right from the BricsCAD session. In addition, we have a variety of learning tools that are available to you. So if I click on learning, there are a variety of tutorials that you can access, which are completely free and they're self-paced. So there are a lot of tutorials that you can access here and get familiar with BricsCAD, or if you're coming from AutoCAD, there is an AutoCAD to BricsCAD. Additionally, if I go to my Start menu, I can access those learning tutorials from my Learning tab here, and then they'll take me directly to those tutorials here as well. We also provide a variety of sample files here so that you can get familiar with BricsCAD. So these are all included in BricsCAD. And if you need additional tools in your workflow, BricsCAD's ecosystem provides hundreds of third-party applications. So you can search for, learn about, and even try many of these applications. So if I select on the Explore on the AEC selection here, again, it'll take me to this website where I can find and discover and pick and learn about various third-party applications that run on top of BricsCAD. So let's finish up with the last concept here, which is the concept of 2D to 3D. So again, as I mentioned earlier, we have BricsCAD is a single platform. So again, I can transition to any one of these workspaces. So in this session here, I have an example of the beginnings of a 3D model that I need to finish. So what I want to do here is change my workspace from drafting to modeling. So it just takes a minute here, and then I didn't leave BricsCAD. I just went ahead and changed my workspace. And immediately, once the workspace is updated, get rid of that, you can see I still have my 2D drafting tools, but now within the 3D workspace or modeling workspace, I have modeling tools available. I have modeling, surfacing, mesh, all relevant tools for me to start doing 3D modeling. So as I mentioned, this drawing has a few things that need to be finished with regard to making it into a 3D drawing. You can see here that most of the fixtures have been converted or changed out to 3D blocks. You can see here that I have a variety of blocks, or these gondola runs are still 2D representations of those shelving units. And I happen to have one here that was converted, but I need to change all of these out. So what I can use is the block replace. So I'm going to replace those 2D representations of these shelves to 3D representations. And I'm going to select the block that I want it to represent as and say, okay. So that quickly I was able to swap out that 2D block representation with a 3D block. So very quickly I was able to replace those blocks. Another technique for creating or transitioning 2D information to 3D information is using our parametric block technology. So again, here I have a block that's a parametric block, but it has its 2D representation. But again, if I select it and go to my properties panel, I can change its display type. So I can quickly change its display type from 2D to 3D. So again, very quickly, I can change how my drawing looks from 2D to 3D that quickly. Now that I have most of my fixtures done, now I need to start drawing up perhaps the walls and making my walls in 3D. So I can go ahead and select these boundary areas. And let me grab one more here. And I can use those boundary areas to now extrude that and create my walls. So I'm going to create these wall heights. And that quickly, now you can see how I can start creating the walls around my space here. And perhaps I need to put a window in here. So I can use my 2D drafting tools and just place a window here and punch that hole through the wall very quickly. So let me go back to my PowerPoint here. So that was a quick introduction into BricsCAD. So a lot of information was covered to see how BricsCAD is familiar, but it's also unique and different. So let's recap what was presented. So again, we started with the launcher, which gives you access to BricsCAD single platform workspaces and product editions. Again, because BricsCAD is familiar, there's no steep learning curve. We also offer some unique and different interface tools. I reviewed some analytical tools to check your drawing and optimize them to understand what's in the drawing and how to control and display those entities. I also introduced you to some of BricsCAD new technology to increase productivity, such as move guided, copy guided, the quad, rollover tips, manipulator, blockify. I covered how you can display various design options using parametric blocks and how you can continue to utilize existing dynamic blocks in your workflow. And as I mentioned, with BricsCAD, productivity also means getting help when you need it. We provide a deep selection of help resources, as you saw, with the in-product tips to online help and tutorials. And finally, with BricsCAD single platform, you have the ability to work in design in 3D when you need it and how you need it. So to summarize what BricsCAD has to offer for you, 1, BricsCAD has more flexible licensing options. We provide network licensing that fits your occasional user. 2, BricsCAD has unique AI machine learning automation tools that will boost your productivity. And 3, BricsCAD is built on a single DWG platform where you can start using your legacy drawings and draft in 2D and easily transition to 3D, BIM, mechanical with amazing interoperability. And again, BricsCAD is a professional CAD platform without compromise. And with that, I don't know if there are any questions, but that was the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Dean. That was awesome. We have a couple of questions, actually.
Okay.
The first question is, can I use BricsCAD for structural detailing drawings?
So absolutely, we do have a small library of standard structural shapes that are included in BricsCAD. And they are 3-dimensional, so we do have structural members that are included in the product, so yes.
Fantastic. The next question is, can you calculate volume, area, and length for any object?
Yeah, we have tools for measuring and calculating areas for sure. Yep, there are measuring tools that you can calculate the area in a closed polygon.
Wonderful. Last question for today. Do you have Arabic fonts in your text?
Ooh, that I'm not sure. I might have to get back with you on that one with the Arabic text.
Okay.
But we'll take that on. I can get that back to you, Barbara, and have an answer for you.
Okay, thank you. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Dean. So
yeah,
efficient as usual.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, again, that was a very quick tour at a high level of why BricsCAD is better. So again, I want please reach out to the BricsCAD or Brixis and NoVeg team, and we can set up a more in-depth or focused discussion on how we can help you transition to BricsCAD.
Please do. And now I'm going to quickly show my screen to thank everybody for attending today and to show them, first of all, where they can find BricsCAD on the NoVeg catalog. Just type in BricsCAD in the search box and all the products available will pop up. And give us a call at any time. We're here for you, and Noveg is, the place to go for all the solutions and the choices you get and the advice. You can call us really anytime. Our phone number is on any page, and a real person will answer you. So check us out on noveg.com. And I've been recording this session, so you can watch it again on Noveg and Vimeo. Thanks again for today's presentation, Dean. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.